Act 4, Part 2 of The Nuts and Bolts of Hamlet. So, what is evident in Act 4, Scene 5 is that we now discover that Ophelia has gone mad. So, remember that madness is a major theme in Hamlet. We first of all have Hamlet's antic disposition, where he is pretending to go mad. And also remember that Hamlet becomes very depressed and confused, which could also be classified as a form of madness. And this comes out in those soliloquies. But Ophelia is not pretending. She has truly gone mad. And you need to understand what are the possible reasons behind Ophelia's madness. So first of all, remember that Ophelia was madly in love with Hamlet, and she was forbidden by her father Polonius to see Hamlet or accept letters from him. And remember the reasons why. Because Hamlet's status in society is much higher than Ophelia, and that marriage would be forbidden. Okay, and secondly, you could say Hamlet's emotional abuse of Ophelia while he's putting on the antic disposition. So this relationship had caused Ophelia so much distress and pain. And look at the way that Hamlet treats her. So make a note of the maltreatment of Ophelia. And ask yourself, does she deserve this treatment from Hamlet? So remember the root of Hamlet's anger towards women is really coming from his relationship with his mother. And Ophelia also takes the brunt of this. And then thirdly, what really sent Ophelia over the edge was the murder of her father Polonius. Take note of Ophelia's character. She's obedient and dutiful. She's obedient to her father, but she's not a strong character. She does not stand up for herself. So when Ophelia goes mad, how does she behave? She sings strange songs. Okay, so at the beginning of scene 5, Ophelia requests to talk to Queen Gertrude, but Gertrude is reluctant due to Ophelia's state of mind. Remember, Gertrude, she comes across as being quite spoiled. She doesn't want to deal with people's problems. Horatio says that Ophelia is talking a lot about her father's death and that her speech is unshaped. He uses that word unshaped, which means that the way she's talking makes no sense. So now you can hear Hardy Dars in the background, which shows us that this is a truly South African Hamlet lesson. Gertrude is worried that Ophelia will affect others with her madness. So this madness is almost like a disease that could spread. Ophelia enters and she starts reciting children's nursery rhymes and poems. So she's talking all in rhymes and poems in this scene and little songs. And much of this refers to the death of old men and young women being abandoned by their lovers. So this gives us the clue of what is troubling Ophelia. Claudius says, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. So notice that Claudius does not mention Hamlet. So he doesn't want to see Hamlet as being someone who is worthy of Ophelia's love. So throughout this act as well, take note of, and throughout the entire play, when there is imagery of disease, Claudius says that the people of Denmark are muddy, thick, and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers. So this disease is spreading throughout Denmark. Why is Denmark now diseased? Who started it? And be aware of where this all began. Okay, with Claudius, unrightfully taking the throne of Denmark. How did he get this throne? Okay, so at this corruption and decay and disease spreads throughout the country. A messenger enters and tells Claudius that Laertes is on his way to Elsinore with a small army to kill Claudius. Okay, so Laertes thinks that Claudius is the one who killed Polonius. He bursts into the room and he challenges Claudius face to face. He doesn't know that Claudius did not kill his father. And here you need to take note of the difference between the reaction of Laertes and Hamlet when they hear about the murder of their father. They are both young men of similar status and age, but how do they differ? How do they react differently? That is really important. Okay, Claudius realizes that he can use Laertes' anger and willingness to kill the person who killed his father to his own advantage. So he says to Gertrude, let him demand his fill. He wants Laertes to become really angry. And then he finally says, I am guiltless of your father's death, and most sensibly agreed for it. So is Claudius really grieving for Polonius? Does he even care about Polonius? Remember the theme of appearance versus reality. He wants to appear to be a good person, but we all know now that Claudius is rotten to the core. At this point, Ophelia enters, and Laertes is filled with profound sorrow when he realizes the state his sister is in. He realizes that his sister is truly, she's gone mad. She's in a terrible state. And this grief and anger becomes a driving force for revenge. And Claudius is going to use that. Claudius takes Laertes aside and wins his confidence. Horatio enters, and a servant brings a message that there are letters from him. Okay, so where are these letters coming from? Right, so Horatio gets a letter from Hamlet. What does the letter say? The letter says that after 2 days at sea, they were chased by pirates. So remember, he was sent to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And there was a letter that went with them. Okay, remember what that letter said. Hamlet's ship was slow, and there was a fight, and Hamlet got onto the pirate ship and was taken prisoner by them. And he says, they dealt with him like thieves of mercy, and asked Hamlet to do a good deed for them in return. Horatio is given a letter to give to Claudius. The pirates will take Horatio to Hamlet, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are on their way to England. So this, on the green screen, is all the details that were in Hamlet's letter. So Claudius continues to win over Laertes. Remember how manipulative Claudius is. Now you must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend. Okay, he's asking Laertes to trust him as a friend. Note again the difference between the character of Hamlet and that of Laertes, especially in relation to Claudius. Hamlet can see Claudius's true nature. Laertes does not have those powers of observation, and he doesn't see what is truly going on. Claudius continues, he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life. Who is Claudius now talking about? Who is the one who killed Laertes' father? And Laertes wants to know why Claudius did nothing about this. Claudius gives these reasons. First of all, the queen adores Hamlet, and Claudius loves the queen. Is this true? The population of Denmark loved Hamlet, and there would be an outcry if Claudius took action against him. At this point, messengers enter with the letter from Hamlet. So please know what this letter says. Claudius continues to manipulate Laertes, and he says, will you be ruled by me? He tells Laertes that he will devise a plan where Laertes can kill Hamlet and that Laertes will not be blamed for his death. He then flatters Laertes about his sword fighting skill. So, in Shakespeare's time, a sword was called a rapier. He tells Laertes that if he really loved his father, he would definitely get revenge by killing the person who killed his father. Laertes replies that he would cut his throat in the church. That he's referring to whoever killed my father, I will cut his throat in the church. Claudius spurs him on by saying, revenge should have no bounds. Again, compare Laertes and Hamlet. Hamlet had the opportunity to kill Claudius while praying in the church for forgiveness. Remember what Hamlet does at that point. Claudius now hatches a plan for Hamlet and Laertes to have a sword fight, where people will make wagers. A wager is a bet. However, the sword that Laertes uses will be poisoned in order to make sure that Laertes wins, and just to make extra sure, Claudius will have a poisoned cup of wine available for Hamlet to drink. So Claudius cheats his way through everything. He's dishonest. He has a corrupt character. Okay, and then at this point, the queen enters and announces to Laertes and Claudius that Ophelia has drowned. We assume that she committed suicide. It is not said directly, but it is indirectly said that Ophelia committed suicide by drowning herself.